The wind howled across the barren hills of Outpost 7 like a forgotten ghost. Dust stung the air and clung to everything. Most settlers had long gone inside tonight, locking their doors and shuttering windows. Only one figure remained outside, struggling against the storm. She stumbled forward, her legs, weaker, thin, cloak torn and fluttering. Her eyes glowed faintly like twin orbs of dusk. Beneath the hood of her cloak was a face not human, yet strangely delicate. Smooth lavender skin patterned with faint silvery lines that pulsed with her heartbeat. She reached the edge of the outpost near a lonely maintenance cabin built against the cliffs. She knocked once, then collapsed. Inside the cabin, Elias Farrow was adjusting a circuit board. He had stayed behind after most engineers were transferred out. He liked the quiet and he liked fixing things. Machines made sense. They broke, you fix them. People were harder. The knock startled him. It was late, and no one came out in sandstorms unless they were desperate. Opening the door slowly, he saw the girl lying still on the ground. For a second he thought she might be dead. Then she stirred. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible through the wind. "Shelter?" Elias acted without thinking. He scooped her up carefully and brought her inside. She was light as air, bones like twigs under paper. He laid her on the bunk and fetched water and a protein pack. Her eyes flickered open as he helped her sip the drink. "You're lucky to be alive," he muttered, crouching beside her. Storm like this could strip paint off steel. She nodded weakly. "Name?" he asked. "Vela," she said simply. Elias did not press for more. She needed rest, not questions. He gave her the bed and curled up on the floor with an old thermal blanket. The storm raged on outside, but inside it was still. The cabin hummed with quiet power. He watched her for a moment before drifting off. There was something about her, something not just alien in species, but in presence. She did not seem afraid despite being alone on a human planet, despite the storm, despite being vulnerable. She had asked for shelter, nothing more. He woke with the first light. The storm had passed. But something else had changed. The cabin was different, brighter. He sat up slowly, blinking at the ceiling. The flickering lights that had needed replacing for weeks now glowed steadily. The broken drone in the corner whirred softly, fully operational. The heater, which used to rattle and groan, now emitted a soft, warm hum. Elias turned toward the bunk. It was empty. He stood and looked around. Every tool was in place, every wire aligned. The entire cabin looked as though it had been restored by a master technician. He opened the door. She stood outside facing the rising sun, her cloak now stitched with clean precision, her posture straight, calm, graceful. He stepped forward. "Vela." She turned and offered a soft smile. "I fixed what was broken," she said simply. He looked around again, stunned. "How?" "When?" "Overnight." He blinked. "You were half dead. I barely got you through the door. I needed rest. Then I worked." Her words were matter-of-fact, as if what she had done was nothing special. Elias shook his head. "You reprogrammed a drone that's been dead for 3 months. You stabilized a heater I was going to replace. The lights alone would have taken me a week." Vela looked at him steadily. "I was taught to give back when given shelter. I did what I could." He rubbed his face, still half convinced he was dreaming. "Where did you learn to do all that?" She hesitated for a moment, then answered quietly. "My people were builders. We knew machines like fire and water, but they are gone now. I am what remains." There was no sadness in her voice, just truth. Elias stepped closer. "You don't have to leave. If you want, you can stay. You've earned more than just one night." She tilted her head. "You are not afraid of me?" "Why should I be?" "Others have been. They see what I am and turn away. Even when I help. Even when I ask for nothing." Elias shrugged. People are often afraid of what they don't understand. But I've seen plenty of humans worse than any alien. You gave without asking. That tells me more than your face ever could. Vela's smile widened a little. Then I accept your offer. She moved back into the cabin and began rearranging the workspace. Within an hour, they were working side by side. She moved with silent precision, her hands delicate, but fast, her understanding of machines beyond anything Elias had seen. She spoke little but listened always. As days passed, she became not just a guest, but a partner. Together they repaired outpost systems that had failed long ago. Water purifiers, heating vent storage drones. Word spread. People from nearby colonies came seeking help. When they saw Vela, some hesitated. But Elias stood beside her always, and that was enough for many. One morning, a transport ship arrived unannounced. Officials from the Central Command stepped out cold-faced and curious. They had heard of an alien fixing human tech. They questioned her, scanned her, tried to classify her, but they could not. Vela was not on any known registry. One officer whispered to another, she could be a remnant of the Zari line, lost for centuries. Elias stood firm. She stays. She's done more for this outpost than any of your tech teams. The officers left without taking her. That night, as they sat by the heater sipping recycled tea, Elias turned to her. You could be royalty for all I know. Some lost princess with ancient knowledge. Vela chuckled softly. Perhaps. But you did not ask for royalty. You gave shelter to a stranger. He nodded, and she turned my world inside out overnight. She looked at him, eyes glowing gently. And you changed mine. Years passed. The outpost thrived, becoming a hub of innovation and trade. People traveled from distant colonies to learn from Vela and Elias. Machines once thought broken were reborn. Lives once disconnected were rebuilt. They never called her alien again. They called her engineer. They called her friend. Some even called her miracle. But Elias knew the truth. She was a girl who asked for nothing but shelter, and gave more than he could ever have imagined.